just this control you're looking for onto that Pango.
There's the puck as well now, so you've got some great teamfight potential here from SAG. Makes it very hard for that Void Spirit and even the Venge. You can't really swap out of that Dream Coil very easily. You're just going to end up stunning up one of your teammates. And RNG, they won't mind it. They go into the Morphling pickup.
Yeah, it's one way of dealing with the Terrorblade, right? You morph into the TB, you steal that metamorphosis yourself, and suddenly you're a bit of a bigger hero than he is with the right itemization. So I'm liking the response from RNG. It does look like they are willing to play that pace up against SAG. They just need to ensure Monet has that great start he's looking for, because we've seen Morphling start to struggle behind if they do get a slow lane. So that's something RNG has to secure for themselves in this game.
But it's one way to get through the Terrorblade, right? Like if you go for the shotgun build here, you could just ignore all the armor of the Terrorblade and just, use that Ethereal Blade and just use that Adaptive Strike and just shotgun him down. And of course, that does kind of go off the Void Spirit as well. You've got so much magic damage from that Void Spirit. All that being amplified from the Ethereal Blade will really help in trying to ensure they can actually kill off God King on this Terrorblade.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot trickier for God King to find that pacing here. Just gotta be careful with how far forward he goes once those items do start popping out from RNG. You see the last ban out on the Mars. So again, just ensuring that Flywin won't get that opportunity to pick up that here he's so fond of playing. And we'll see what RNG does opt to give him this game if they do want to get a little bit more team fight out there, a little bit more control, counteract what SAG has.
RNG, final pickup now. Reserve time, plenty of it left for them, and there is plenty as well for SAG. They're looking for that offlane hero, unless they're planning to run the Void Spirit offlane, though no, the Night Stalker does come out. Still a very flexible pick as to where you're going to run it, but more than likely it will be Flywin playing it in the offlane. I love the aggression here from RNG. They're not planning to back off. They're, again, just going with this kind of crazy fight-orientated draft that runs at you. SAG, though, they look prepared for this. As it stands, they just need an offlane of their own, unless the Pango is going to take that position 3 role, and perhaps they give something else to the position 5 or 4 here for SAG.
It's still pretty flexible for them to close out their draft. I think the Night Stalker is still a really strong hero here for RNG. Going into it, you've got the silence to deal with the Terrorblade. You've got that timing at night just to play that faster pace to buy space for the Morphling. And you get more value from your Grimstroke once the soul binds out with the spells the Night Stalker has as well. So it is shaping up. It's shaped up quite nicely for RNG to close out. They still have sort of a decision to make whether or not the Night Stalker will end up going off. I guess we'll find out from SAG's last pick if RNG's forced to shuffle those lanes around. But SAG as well, you mentioned it, but they've got that flexibility with a Pango puck. So got to reveal their hand down in their last pick. And again, we're looking for something to give them solid pacing, maybe something to eat through the morph. Would want to take care of that hero early on before it can really be an issue with that shotgun on the Terrorblade that will eat through that low HP hero.
SAG having a real long think about this last pickup. Yeah, they don't want to, I'm sure, but if they wanted to go back into the, I was going to say the Viper, because they do seem to love running that when they're kind of unsure about what else to play. Wouldn't be the greatest in the offlane, though. It's just a matter of how they want to run this Pangolier. Like, do you want to really give it that core position up against the Grimstroke, who can just cancel off the Rolling Thunder anytime it wants?
Yeah, it's a tricky proposition for just how far you can push that Pango. They do close out with a Bristle, so that does look to be our offlane. And yeah, no, it's a DD down mid. It's a support puck from Felix.
Okay.
Again, just a bit of a shake-up there. Gonna be interesting to see how much OP can pull out, and of course DD down mid on Bristle. Just how much he can really trade with Setsu. It's a stranger timing from SAG, right? Like, you can play aggressive if you want. You are relying on the Bristleback to find that early farm, to build up into maybe a Vanguard, into a Crimson Guard, or what have you, really just be durable in the front, forcing the responses out from RNG. Look to SAG to try to slow that morph down, but RNG as well, they don't want God King to have a free lane, and Flywin on the off lane is going to make that a bit trickier for God King to farm in.
That it will. I have to wait and see how this one pans out. RNG, they of course understand it's going to be very, very important to shut down the jungle of SAG. That seems to be the main focus of trying to slow down this Terrorblade. They don't really have those really great tower pushes in their draft, in all honesty, though. So they may struggle in taking objectives here, which could buy enough time for SAG to really just get that farm that they need before they get aggressive. That's really the only concern I have for RNG. Like, you need to take towers to get jungle control, and if you don't have towers, you can invade the jungle just fine, but you can't really stick around there.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past few games, just how those early objectives shape up to be a lot more important. Of course, RNG themselves have managed to kind of counteract losing all their outer towers first. So there is an opportunity for them, if you play your cards right, to still overcome those kinds of disadvantages, and see whether or not that will be the case here in game number 3, as both teams would like to close out this day with a solid win on their end.
I'm sure they would. SAG. So they might try to make an early play onto the Morphling. Monet, of course, morphing into that Agi. Has to be slightly careful about his positioning right now, as they'll know he's morphing Agi. They'll know he'd be very low in HP.
Seconds to battle.
Red Panda. Sharp in that mid lane. Try and suss out whether he can find a ward there. No tower aggro means no ward. Red Panda will head off, but you've already got Super still sticking around just in case he spots out them placing a ward. You should see Red Panda doesn't really have an obs ward, so it's fairly obvious where he's put it. And he's going to be able to clean that one up pretty easily. Nice play from Super.
Yeah, it's a nice little gold boost for him. You do see pretty decent trade with bounties as well, so a lot less of an explosive start. Not looking to secure those early kills, although Red Panda's probably caught a couple of hits here, but he does have Shadow Poison to trade with.
Super. Gotta be a little bit careful. Even if these earlier levels, those Shadow Poison stacks can hurt quite a lot. Super, he wanted to go for the D ward straight away, or rather Red Panda wanted to go for the D ward straight away, and does get it. And I love the fact that they have this Bristle mid, because it seems to make it almost impossible for Setsu in this lane to really feel safe at any moment.
Yeah, it's tricky for the Void Spirit to really apply that pressure he wants. I mean, there is some durability Resonant Pulse affords you, but you can't spam it as often as the Bristleback spams that Quilt Spray, so Setsu already dropping very low. Might have to pop that salve soon.
Oh, he's gonna go and creep skip. Already. Alright. I mean, that's a way to do it, right? Even with the aggro changes. As long as you're near a tower, you can get this pull off. So DD is just going to go around in a circle and double stack the wave. It's actually quite clever from him. He's going to get another. Have a double stack going for himself now. So that'll... Oh, he's actually lost one, though. Oh, okay. Oh, they're back now, but no, he's self-cancelled. Setsu gets the kill.
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a shame for DD. I think he forgot that those creeps only aggro once they're within 1,500 range of the tier 1. So he doesn't quite find the stack he wants. It is still a fairly pushed-in wave. Can still make use of that here.
I definitely didn't want to die like that, though. He lost that salve as well. Setsu going to be feeling a lot better about himself in this lane now, knowing that DD's already died once. However, he almost loses his courier. May still lose it and does. Cool sprays out from DD. But Setsu, he does get his bottle up. I don't think he's going to be too upset about losing the courier as long as he has that bottle there.
Yeah, it affords him a lot more regen in the lane along with that stick, so he is going to be able to trade with DD just a bit better. And again, that early kill cost DD just a bit in terms of controlling that lane. Does kind of force the other lanes to stay pretty stagnant as well. Like, you're not seeing any rotations out from RNG to try to salvage that mid lane, which means that you are keeping any movements out in check. Like, Flywind still having a decent time up top. You're seeing God King. He's farming up on par with the Night Stalker, so you're still getting that space on the Terrorblade at the very least.
That is true. God King is having a good old time. The Flywind won't really be able to apply too much pressure, it seems, until that nighttime hits. The September trying his best with the Stroke of Fate, but God King just going to pop that meta and secure some very, very safe farm on that Terrorblade now. Of course, the bot lane as well, OP God up against Monet on that Morphling. Felix will be there as the position for Puck. And there will also be the Pos 5 Vengeful Spirit there from Super.
Yeah, it's been a bit slower for Monet. The last hit's not quite piling in as fast as it would for God King, but we've seen this multiple times. SAG just makes that opposing safe lane a lot harder for the enemy team, and Monet is not hitting that fast pace, but it's not a complete shutout. He's still at least matching OP God's form here.
Oh, DD. Gonna be able to get that illusion rune mid? No. Setsu is gonna race him for it every single time. He's just gonna play around with Setsu's heart, and Setsu, luckily for him, had the Resonant Pulse going, so that shield blocking out all that tier 1 damage. With that Soul Ring now coming out on this Bristleback, it could make it a little harder for Setsu to maintain himself in this mid lane. He's even bringing out a few clarities and a salve for himself to really get himself set up, and bounty being placed now onto Red Panda.
Yeah, just trying to set the pace here for RNG, give them some motivation to find some kills. Still, it's been fairly static lanes from both sides. Like, you do see maybe September dropping by mid for a couple of minutes, but not really amounting to too much. It will just secure runes, and looks like RNG has secured that bot set of runes.
They have. September going to take one, and we'll see. There is an attempt there from Felix to get the other, but it was not successful. Even Red Panda does manage to take one up at the top lane, but Flywind is going to punish him for it. And that still will be a 3-for-1 trade on those bounties. Flyer will make his way back down towards his own triangle and maybe get that bounty a little later on, though. Setsu is actually just diving DD through his own jungle. He doesn't have any more Astral Steps, so he has to be a little bit wary of how much damage he takes. He'll be alright. He'll walk out of there. Setsu's really trying to give it over to DD, though. He's just not giving him any space in this Bristle, and this Bristleback really doesn't have that much farm.
Yeah, I love seeing this from RNG. Just, we've seen this happen before when the Bristleback gets slowed down by an extreme amount. They just don't manage to find that impact. If their Vanguard's delayed, if their Hood of Defiance is delayed, and, yeah, well, this is not quite a complete shutout yet, but DD's progression is substantially stalled out compared to what you'd want from a really good Bristleback game.
I wonder what the game plan was here from this mid Bristle. What was the idea behind it? Obviously, you dominate the mid lane against the Void Spirit, but after that, perhaps the idea was just to snowball with that Bristle and leave God King alone. Speaking of God King, interesting build. He goes for the drums and disassembles. No, he didn't.
It's an interesting pickup for God King. That allows him to farm a bit faster as long as the charges are up, and gives him an option to fight as well, although up top...
Red Panda, he's not going to be in trouble. Flywind's still thinking about diving, but Felix is there now on the pos 4 puck. Flywind's still wanting to go for this. Red Panda trying to survive the best he can. That tier 1 tower whacking away, but Flywind does get the bounty and does get the kill. He's just got to try and make his way out of this now. In fact, Setsu joins in on that Void Spirit, also getting Felix.
Yeah, and that entire fight was happening while Flywind had his boots in the backpack, so he wasn't trading as efficiently as he could have. They still find the kills, and you see RNG pull away with a 2k lead. This is going to be an issue for SAG. You already have God King in that jungle. You need to find a way of finding DD his own farm as well, and I mean, OP God's lane is also kind of forfeit. He's dipped into that jungle as well. So RNG, they're coming out of this laning phase, finding everything they could possibly ask for all of their cores.
That they are. The 3k net worth lead's going to be feeling quite nice here for RNG. And the God King, he's been forced to just go into that jungle earlier than he would usually like to. He'll get to farming. But RNG not looking to slow down. Setsu, where are we TPing to? Down back to the mid lane where he does go for the DD rune up at the top rune spot. With that DD, he can definitely try to look for another play to make across the map. And we see our second drums for today as well. Flyone picks one up now on the Night Stalker. And it was really a question after this patch of whether these drums was going to be popular. Turns out for now, at least in this game it is. So both teams opting to get one for themselves.
Yeah, it's a lot of value. It just gives you a lot more openings to be aggressive. Once you pop that active, you can really start laying into the fights or into the objective. So it's a great tempo setting item, and it makes a bit more sense on the Night Stalker, I have to admit, compared to the Terrorblade. But as long as God King gets to use that for farm, I guess it doesn't really hurt. As RNG, they laid onto that mid tier 1, no defense from SAG. So a nice simple objective going the way of RNG.
Mid lane, they might actually try to make a play, SAG. No, they can't really do anything right now. They're just behind. They'll TP in their Bristle again, but well, DD still isn't really at that point he'd like to be to get aggressive. He's going for a Vanguard build. Super, going to be chased down now. DD should be able to secure this kill onto the Venge. There is going to be the Night Stalker ulti being popped, however. And whoa, what a nice save out from Setsu. Will end up meaning Super is dead anyway, though. The Shadow Poison does tick him out. Now Flyone. When he popped the Nighttime, but he's not able to do anything with it. Instead, he's going to make his way back down to the bot lane.
It's a bit of a waste. Their SAG, they still hold on to that Rolling Thunder if they want to play aggressive themselves. They've got a slight opening here. They could just find the proper target to just get control onto.
That they could. Right now, it just seems as though they just need to pick up some levels and farm. Like, Felix is still sitting at level 5 on that puck. You look at Manane, he's at level 8 already on this Morphling. He's going straight into the Lincoln Sphere as well. It's just really great how RNG have bought so much space here for their own cause. And Setsu, with this much farm on the Void Spirit, is almost guaranteed to have a really good game. It's like right now, anyone on the map just dies to him.
Yeah, I'd say he's already having a fantastic game. 2-0, just taking complete control from the mid. Already found that tier 1 as well. He's constantly forcing like 3 heroes in his lane. Red Panda and Felix just have to hang around here to try to find something from these creeps. That means they're really not helping out on the other side lanes. OP God's just left by himself. And again, God King is just left in that jungle. So you're not finding too many openings, SAG, although they do clump up bot now. They've got 3 heroes down here.
Yeah, but they do. Can they apply the pressure and get that tier 1 tower? It's not easy. You don't really have a push style lineup here from SAG to get this kind of tower down, but they do spawn out Flyone down at that bot lane. He'll pop the Crickling Fear and now just go straight after that Pango. The Rolling Thunder is going to come out, and now they should have plenty of control here onto Flyone, but do they have the damage output? Felix has the Sonic, rather has the ulti on the puck, but can't quite get it off because of the silence, and now OP God gonna go down. And they keep going. There's that Dream Core coming out now from Felix with a swap in from Super onto that Bristleback. DD falling very, very low and probably will also die. He goes back in after the Venge, trying to get the last Quill Spray off, but it is not good enough. He will also go down.
Yeah, and they also drag in Monet into that fight, so he does find some of that AoE gold as well from helping out, and this is a really early aggressive move from Monet. It does pay off, and this is buying space for God King. It continues to give their Terrorblade free farm. Just question just how much more does he need, as even Flywind's starting to lay onto him, but DD will ensure that God King gets to just run away for free.
He's got his Yasha up now on that Terrorblade. Going into that Manta build again. Fairly standard stuff for the TB. Much more standard than his usual builds. Like, usually we'd see him go straight into the Sergeant Yasha first. Then again, though, those items were kind of nerfed in this recent patch anyway, so he may not feel it necessary. And
yeah, it's a lot trickier for him to go for those aggressive builds, mainly because he can't afford to play too far forward here. I mean, he's joining in for the push. That's because he has a little bit of that DD left, and they know that RNG probably won't try to commit. The fort is there, though, and there is a smoke from RNG in the back.
yeah, it's going to take him a while to get there. They have the Orchid up on Setsu, and that's the real reason why they're smoked up.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
That Ops Ward, yeah, it's within range of that sentry, but they are going to jump in. Silence is there on the Pangolier, and he's definitely gone. OP God dies. Now we'll see the Bristle still going. Dream call out from Felix. They are going to be able to get one. Setsu dodging out the Dream Caller himself. So 1-for-1 trade, but it's a core for a support, and it definitely favors RNG again.
Yeah, they find a better end of that. I mean, you do still get that tier 1 bot from SAG's end, so they got a bonus tower for themselves, but they already lost their top one, so it's kind of just a very delayed trade for them. And RNG, they get some space out for Rene. He is very close to that Lincoln Sphere on the Morphling, and once that hook, he should be free to fight early.
Just jumps in mid again. DD going to be in trouble. No, they'll go after the Shadow Demon instead, and Red Panda is going to die. They didn't quite get the Bristleback they wanted. And DD with that Vanguard just proving to be a little bit too tanky right now. But they still maintain such control of this game. And when you look at God King, he's in the mid lane, not really farming right now, which is very unusual for him. But he clearly feels very uncomfortable up against this draft that RNG's running. Flywin even reminding him just in that last second that they're always watching. RNG, I mean, if they can keep this up, the series looks to be theirs.
Yeah, they have applied a lot of good pressure so far. And this is a playstyle we don't see SAG pulling out. Just having God King so active early on, sacrificing that farm. It is costing him, and he is fairly low. Probably doesn't want to cop hits from September.
DD swapped up. Flywin slowing him down. Monet is coming in as well for that added damage. DD still looking very tanky, however. Can they actually take him down? They can, but there's a 3-man Dream Coil there. No follow-up to it, though. They just threw it out just to make sure they couldn't chase any further.
Yeah, and it's starting to cost them these small trades. Like, DD's supposed to be that tanky frontliner, and just not able to contend with the full brunt of RNG once they do get that focus on. So RNG continuously building up. 4K advantage now. A Lincoln Sphere up and running. Monet going straight for the shotgun. The E-Blade is going to be active rather early, and it should coincide with the timing of God King's Manta, or at least the Manta should be up first. So there is some dodge capability there. You have to wonder if the Morphling can find a proper target. It's a really easy pickoff.
Well, they're surrounding. Silence going to be out onto DD. Felix getting spotted out as well. They do throw in the stun, and he's going to die. And again, DD's just kind of left ignored here on that Bristleback, but they don't really care for it. If they keep getting everyone around the Bristleback, then the Bristleback can't do his job anyway.
Yeah, it's really detracting from what SAG wants to get done with this draft. And
Soulbind.
oh, they're diving in.
Going to be out. Flywin scouting out. Does get Red Panda there on that Shadow Demon. And Flywin on this Night Stalker doing just so much work. Now they'll go after DD. Do they have the damage output? Probably not quite yet. But they are forcing Felix to TP back in. Crippling Fear going to be there. And they have plenty of damage to burst him down. OP, he's also been scouted out here from Flywin. Can't quite finish him off. But with a 6k net worth lead and that tier 2 tower under attack now, they are more than happy.
Oh yeah, they're going to be able to secure that objective. SAG, they've run out of options to really defend. And the
Setsu.
least they can do...
He's got God King down at the bot lane, but Doesn't have any help. God King, he's actually going to get a tier 2 tower trade.
Dire's top tower has been
Yeah,
denied.
they find the deny up top as well, so it's a favorable trade for SAG. It is paying off. God King is forcing out these movements, and he is #1 in terms of net worth on the map. It's just coming at a severe cost on his 2 other cores. You do see SAG still smoke up, though. They want to keep trying to apply that pressure.
They're going to try onto Flywind. Flywind, it is nighttime, which makes it very hard for them to make this chase, but perhaps with Dream Coil, it may be enough. Flywind does get caught out. Silence there as well. He'll just immediately break the coil. OP God gonna chase with the Rolling Thunder, does connect once. Now God King will pop his drums and try to make the chase here onto Flywind. And eventually he should die. He did slowly have some help coming in, but they don't commit. Super just sits back on the Venge and Monet thinks better of it. He still has an Ethereal Blade to farm up on that Morphling, so probably best he doesn't get involved, but he's gonna try onto God King. There are a lot of heroes around. And Reflection, Monet, have you gone too far? You may have. That Spirit Vessel's making it hard for him to Strength Morph, but he does. September, Inkswell out from the Grimstroke will stun him up, and now another stun coming out from Monet. Swap in, God King falling very, very low. He has no target, and he will go down. And now Setsu will also go down, rather get OP God, and Flywind gonna go after DD on this Bristleback. Again, it's the one target they just continue to leave. And this is finally the chance where they can actually go after this Bristleback. They will slowly but surely chip away at that HP. And DD does go down.
They did find big kills SAG at the start. I think getting that first Flywind kill was massive. It's just they bleed out too much in the end. They lose out on their own biggest core in the form of God King. So RNG, that's a very favorable trade for them. This is all while Monet doesn't have the E-Blade. You know, he doesn't even have his big tool yet. You're seeing a slight edge towards God King's own presence on his hero. So you have to factor in, once that burst item's up, these fights, they're going to go a lot cleaner for RNG if you're not careful.
Well, Setsu's got a BKB up now to boot. Like, it becomes that much harder, and he just jumps in straight onto OP God. Won't have quite enough damage yet with that Orchid, so he will be able to swash away. And now the Rolling Thunder back into Setsu. Dissimulate. It's going to be enough to dissuade him from chasing. At least I guess OP God survives through that.
Yeah, it's a decent here to save. It is still a core that just bails itself out. Rather unfortunate Setsu did not have an additional charge in that step. Would have been a guaranteed kill if he did have that. Nonetheless, they group up once more, they smoke up, they continue to play aggressive on RNG's end.
Setsu gets a haste rune as well. DD, they saw him up in that top lane. They're going to run into more than just that. OP God just around. In fact, no, they go for a swap onto God King. They found the TB.
Oh no.
That's usually the one guy you can never catch out. And now, in that mid lane, it looks like they also find the Shadow Demon. So, Red Panda will also end up dying.
Yeah, Setsu is 9-0 right now on this Void Spirit, just having the game of his life here up against SAG. They clear out that mid tier 2, and they're actually going to start chipping away in that tier 3, huh? Straight to the high ground.
Why not? I mean, if the objective is to not allow God King to farm, this is the way you do it. You just take everything off the map. They've got an AK advantage, and I mean, this Bristleback DD, he's a non-factor. He's even bought the Voodoo Mask. It just doesn't help. I think they're too far behind to really do too much.
Yeah, I mean, this gives him a lot more tankiness in front. Like, the lifesteal on the Quilt Spray is nice. That is like a talent for him. That's a level 25 talent and item for the Bristleback. So in that sense, it's value. It's just he's not tanky enough to really maximize that. And that is a bit of a risk. Still, SAG smoke up. They want to try to make something here.
They will. It's clearly a bit of despotism, although Setsu dissimulate. He'll be fine to just Astral Step out. Now the Dream Coil there, but it only caught out Super, and the Crippling Fear is going to make it harder. But they're just trying to disengage. RNG, they just want to back out. Seemingly very uninterested in fighting this Terrorblade in that Metamorphosis.
It's a nice pullout. I mean, you still have a lot of damage that does fly out of God King when he does pop that meta, so cut your losses. You don't have the shotgun just yet, Monet. I think they're really just waiting out for that item to be up first before they start committing once more. Still, this does buy enough time for OP to finish up his blink on the Pangolier. So you're getting a bit more mobility on this here, and should allow SAG to try to engage on their own terms a bit better here.
Setsu, mid lane. Gets Red Panda on the Shadow Demon. God King? That's not the place to farm. Your Shadow Demon just died there. God King. Aether Remnant gonna latch onto DD. That is so much damage coming out with that Ink Portrait.
Oh man, that's a really early pickup from September onto the Ags. He just rushed it, but it's paying off. Like, they've got a lot more presence here. They build up their lead to 11k, and SAG, they're slipping up a bit. They're exposing themselves when they shouldn't be. God King is just not farming fast enough on a hero that he should be bigger on, but simply isn't.
They're gonna go after the Roshan. And it won't be that long of a Roshan either. They just have so much damage through the Monet and Setsu. With that Wave of Terror, it's gonna be that much faster. And now that that shotgun is up, at least one person's getting deleted from the team fight before it even starts, and they'll smoke up. He's even got the Nether Shell to really add on that bonus spell damage. And SAG look to try and back off now. They're gonna... Oh, God King, not again. Mid lane getting caught out there with the swap of Super. Oh my, and that's it. They just call it. They've had enough. GG, and he just disconnects.
Ooh, that is a far cry from how their games went beyond Epic, but RNG, it looks like they learned from that experience. They found the answer to SAG, and they do manage to turn this into a 2-1 victory. So props to RNG for managing to figure out the answers here. As SAG, they looked really strong coming into this series.
No, I absolutely agree. It's RNG getting their revenge here up against SAG. And SAG just unable to get that draft working in their favor. Still, that'll be it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night for some more CDA DPL League. It is MLP Dota on johnxfire, and I believe we'll probably be raiding the BTS1 channel if they are live right now. So if you did want to watch some more Dota, just stick around. If it's not live, then we're probably just going to be going offline. So I guess you'll find out that way. But it is MLP Dota. It's johnxfire. We'll see you guys all again tomorrow night for some more great Chinese Dota. We'll see you then.